3, 2, 1.
Hard Rockology Show, Chris, Matt, and Jason. The song is called Hey. The band is called Rivet. And from the band, Matt Rile and Tom Bielek. Guys, welcome to the Hard Rockology Show.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Hey, what's up? Thanks for having us.
No worries, guys. So how's everything going in the Rivet camp?
It's all good. Keeping busy, active, and productive. We're always playing.
You guys been around for a while in a lot of different bands, and how did the whole Rivet thing come together?
Actually, I formed the band, and I was looking for this particular... I had the singer in mind with a certain voice. Slade happened to walk in one day to many of our auditions, and he was the guy. And with my filthy, grungy, distorted guitar tone and his heavy tank rolling kind of vocals, that really kind of created the Rivet sound, which actually had in mind for a long time. And then Tom came in, and also Sticky came in.
Yeah, I was really attracted to the sound whenever I heard it. You know, he had an opening for a bass player, and, you know, it was just the exact vibe and everything that I was looking for. All the sounds of, like, all the great bands that are out there that are, like, heavy and rock and raw. You know, I love the sound. That's why I joined.
Well, one of the things I noticed listening to the material, I mean, you guys definitely have like an AC/DC / Motorhead type of sound to you. It's kind of got that, I want to say at times, a bar room, hard rock kind of sound, but it's got that Motorhead edge to it. So is that...
Take no prisoners, Matt. Take no prisoners sound.
Exactly. Was that was that something that you guys were going for, or is that just something that came out in the writing process? Or what kind of sound are you really looking for when you guys are writing your material?
Well, here's the thing. As far as my vision is concerned, or what I've seen with my experience, is that, you know, simplicity rules. Just simplicity rocks. I'm talking song-oriented. When you're writing a song, or even when the song is being played live to the audience, when it's simple and deadly and straight to the point, I'm talking, you know, down to the bottom line. It's like people really, really rock to good, simple songs. And that's what I believe in, and it just, and it's, believe it or not, it's not as easy to play the simple songs compared to, you know, some bands hot dogging out there, like as far as the speed is concerned. So playing slow sometimes is difficult because, you know, it's got to be very, very accurate, believe it or not. A lot of people don't notice that, but anyways, people just rock to, you know, very heavy, simple stuff, and every instrument just shines through. It can be heard.
Well, it's one of the things I wanted to mention to Tom, because I know you're coming into the band as the new bass player, as is Sticky, the new drummer, and that's one of the things that I've noticed is it's a tight rhythm section, and that sound comes through. Now, is that something that I guess we could expect on the new material coming out, hopefully a little bit later this year or next year?
The new stuff, it is definitely, like Matt was saying, you know, we did drop our tuning on it. I would say if what you can expect is something very, very simple, very heavy, almost like Danzig's first album.
Okay.
You know, something like slow. I mean, not necessarily slow, but just like hard rocking and heavy. No ballad kind of materials, but it's just, you know, we kind of stay within a particular parameter of stuff. So, I mean, you'll never hear like a ballad from us. You won't hear anything like that's like a technical metal song, nothing that's overproduced. I mean, just the way that the band is set up, it's the way rock and roll should be. You know, no pedals, no crazy background choruses or anything like that. It's you know, rock in its purest, rawest form.
All right, well, that being said, we opened up the show with the track Hey, which is actually your anthem song for Rivet. A lot of the fans out there, that's the song they want to hear. For the fans that haven't had a chance to see you guys live, what can they expect when they go see you guys live? What type of show are they going to see?
Okay, when you come to a Rivet show, aside from the raw energy of our performance, if you can picture Matt up on stage doing everything that Hendrix does except lighting his guitar on fire. That's the kind of energy that you can kind of expect from us whenever you see a Rivet show. You know, as far as our drummer's concerned, I have never played with a drummer like Sticky before in my life. This guy, he's not like a thumper, or like a heavy hitter. He just cracks it so hard. I mean, it's just when you see this guy play, and then just the passion in his face, he's the full package when it comes to it. As far as Slate's concerned, I mean, that guy, he's just got this kind of power to him. He looks at the audience straight dead in their eyes when he's singing to them, and just, I mean, it's almost like I want to compare him to like early David Lee Roth kind of stuff. He has that same kind of presence of like any of those great singers from the 70s and 80s. And then me, I just do whatever feels right,
The band's from L.A. So what's your guys' take on the hard rock scene in Los Angeles right now?
Did you say scene? Because I don't see a scene anywhere in the city.
That's what I mean. That's what I'm trying to get at. I mean, we go see a lot of bands, and there's still bands playing at the major clubs, the Whiskey, the Roxy, the Viper Room. I just wanted an honest opinion on what you thought about what was going on the Sunset Strip right now.
Well, this is not actually based on our personal outlook, but what we see is that all the famous joint, as we put it, Whiskey, Roxy, so forth, all on the strip, basically all pay to play. The band brings its own crowd, and they perform in front of their own crowd. And to me, compared to the good old days, it's more like excuse me guys, but it's like masturbation. Actually, it's like live rehearsal. So if a band doesn't actually get to the next level by doing something about that, which bringing heads, or whatever you want to put it, is the most important thing, including the booker's concern. So for a band to actually earn recognition and be noticed, even on the strip, where the pay-to-play madness is all it is, you got to start packing the clubs, and that's what we're working on right now. We're developing a following, and people are noticing our music as not being so different, but they said that we have a very old school essence, but up to times with it, and they said they just love the combination because we're heavy old school, but we're brand new.
So some of your guys' influences would be, say, like we talked about earlier, like AC/DC, Motorhead. Did we leave anybody out, you think?
Yeah, like, Rose Tattoo. Actually, I like their later stuff. They're more harder. And also like Circus of Power, they're from New York, but they kind of got based in L.A., and we just like, the good old, heavy, primitive might be a good term, old school heavy rock straight. So our sound, like Tom stated, which is a very good point, we don't have any crazy overdubs, even live or in the studio, none of that. We're pure and organic. We don't use any effects, just the way it is.
I mean, the band is just straight ahead forward rock and roll, so who came up with the name Rivet? I mean, it kind of fits the sound, don't you think, Matt?
Yeah, it fits the sound. It also fits the image. I mean,
yeah.
You look at Slade, I'm thinking that's the first thing I saw is this guy has to look like this, and he looks exactly the way I'd picture him. So, yeah, who exactly came up with that name Rivet? Because
can the world really survive without one Rivet? It's not possible.
Sam, that's a good question, and Tom, I'll answer this one. Actually, I came up with the name. I was in a different band, and we're actually on tour. And actually, we're probably a couple of hours, maybe it was like 2-3 hours away from landing in Japan, where we were on a Japan tour. And the plane shook so bad during turbulence, and the wings were almost ready to rip off. And believe me, guys, I flew 1,000 times, and this one was real bad. It shook more than Elvis himself. And I said to myself, God, thank God for these rivets, or else I'd be gone already. And I said, that's my next band.
That's an interesting story. I mean, you always wonder how those planes stay in the air, and then it's like the turbulence. It's like, oh, don't worry about it. Turbulence ain't going to break anything apart. There's plenty of rivets that hold that thing together.
Yeah, and the pilots, they say they're warplane pilots, X whatever, So they said, hey, not to get off subject blab here, but they're like, oh, the aircraft could handle, ladies and gentlemen, please do not panic. But it's like, we're basically like, I can't say the word, but be bricks, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was pretty bad. So, but hey, did some justice on that flight.
I know a little bit earlier in the interview you mentioned that you guys are going into the studio working on some new material. So do you want to let the fans and the listeners out there know when they may expect some new Rivet material?
Yeah, we're shooting for actually going into the studio in December or January. You know, like Matt said earlier today, you know, making sure that we get the right engineer in the right studio to make our sound exactly the way that we want it is very important. And, you know, we just happen to be in Los Angeles where there are a ton of studios and we have so many choices. Right now, I think we're going to have this thing narrowed down within the next couple weeks, which studio we're going to hit. And we're probably looking at early spring release, you know, but we don't want to rush it. We want to take our time, do everything right, and, you know, everything's going to be perfect on this thing.
Is it safe to say that the material's already written? Or are we looking at maybe an EP, or are we looking at a long play?
We're actually looking at an EP right now. The material that's going to be recorded actually involves some of the stuff from the original Rivet days that I wrote that was never recorded, and also, you know, new material. So, and all these songs that I just mentioned, we then performing on stage with them, and we want the public to hear it actually on material.
Okay, so the fans that have been going to the shows that know the material have something to look forward to because, like I said, I mean, you've been playing these songs, or like you said, you've been playing these songs, so a lot of the fans out there are going to be pretty happy to hear that these songs are going to be finally released on CD, so I'm glad to hear that. I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you.
This is a real important question, guys, real important. I always come up with the crazy, weird questions. Matt's the technical guy. But I want to ask you guys, if you could be a fly on the wall for the recording of a classic album, any genre, what would it be?
Oh, but there's so many great albums, man. That's saying, you know, which finger do you want to keep? Because I'm going to cut the rest of them off.
Okay, so which finger do you want to keep? I'm going to cut the rest of them off.
I think I want to keep my thumb.
Okay, so we'll cut the rest of them
Middle
off.
finger, man.
Oh, God, that's really, really hard, man. Tom, you want to answer this first while I'm thinking of mine?
Okay, so if I was to be the fly on the wall at any recording, at any point in time, you know, the first thing that comes to my mind, there's a band called Madball out of New York City.
Okay.
And they did an album called Set It Off, I think back in the 90s. And, yeah, it's just pure hardcore, you know. It's heavy, it's not very metal, but it's just got that good element. You know, I really like the way I can listen to that record and, you know, forever.
All right.
That's one of the ones I'll take on the island with me, too, if I could only listen to one thing.
Madball, right?
Yeah.
All right, Matt, you're up.
I don't know. Not to sound lame here, but that's going to be a little tough for me to answer.
That's okay. Okay, guys, we got a couple more questions. Most memorable experience so far being in the band?
I guess whenever we were, you know, just anytime we go and are in the writing process, you know, and just we know that something clicks, that's the biggest memory for me, you know. I'd probably say that was like maybe my third week in the band. That was the most memorable for me, being in practice and realizing, hey, you know what, we're clicking, and this is something that I want to do. This is a project I really, really want to work on, you know. I actually felt like I was part of the band at that point in time.
All right, Matt, what about you? Most memorable moment being in the band so far?
Okay, don't laugh now. After I did my, like Tom said, my Jimmy thing and I got off stage totally sweaty, I noticed that my overalls, which I wore then, it's my signature, were completely ripped up. And my boxers were hanging out. I'm talking, it was ripped from the crotch all the way past my knee.
Sounds like almost like a Spinal Tap moment for you, man.
So I say to myself, well, I'm doing something right.
Well, that's one of the other questions we always ask our guests, Spinal Tap moment. Now, Matt, would that be safe to say most memorable and also your Spinal Tap moment being in the band?
Yeah, I definitely think so, yeah.
my Spinal Tap moment's on its way. I haven't gotten there yet.
Don't a lot of guys say that too, Matt? They haven't got to the Spinal Tap moment. Like they don't want to admit that they had one Spinal Tap moment yet.
I mean, come on, Tom. There's had to be something that's happened to you.
I mean, I've had a bad hair day before, but that's about it for the limited amount of time I've been with the band, a little bit over a year.
No problem finding the stage or anything like that, right?
No, not yet. I mean, they happen. I'm one of those guys who likes to be prepared for everything, so,
Damn, we couldn't get a Spinal Tap moment from Tom. All right.
We're just going to have to keep following up with him,
we're going to have to keep on following Rivet. Maybe we'll have one at Molly Malone's. And speaking of that, guys, so you got...
That would be a good place to have it, Halloween show.
Yeah, so speaking of that, so you guys have some upcoming shows lined up pretty soon? Tell us a little bit about that, and where can people find out about Rivet?
Yeah, we actually do have a couple coming up. We got a benefit coming up for a girl who has brain cancer over in Simi Valley next Saturday, the 28th. Okay, that's a show called Haven Palooza that we're playing with the Pollywog Crew and also the Chimps. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with them.
Yeah, familiar with the Chimps.
Yeah, we also are playing with a couple of our friends' bands, Undermine and Raven Black Project, and Dead Laszlo's Place, and there's just a ton of bands playing, but it's for a good cause. It's definitely worth coming out to. But the big one that we got coming out is our Halloween show on October 26th. That's a Saturday night. And, that's down on Fairfax in Hollywood. It's going to be a really, really good time. We're looking forward to that. So, yeah, and we want to try and get as many people out to that as possible because it's a really nice place. And just love playing on Halloween.
And that's at Molly Malone's, right?
Yes.
All right. So where else, if people want to find out about Rivet, where can we send them to? Is there a fan website, Facebook? Where's the best way to find out?
We usually direct everybody to our Facebook site, which is facebook.com/rivetband. That's RIVETBAND. And, if you go there, pretty much that's the hub for everything. You'll be able to find out about shows, get to see, the latest flyers, And I want to give a big shout-out to the artists on our flyers. His name's Eric Goggin. He's a graphic designer from out in Pittsburgh, and he just really he does a bang-up job on these things.
Yeah, Tom, don't forget the posters done by him that's plastered all over the city.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking. The posters, the flyers, and then it's just great. And then we also got one of the best photographers that really does a great job for us. His name's Steve Paney Payne, and this guy, he's done photographs for all kinds of famous people, including Dwight from The Office.
Okay, guys. Well, Matt and I want to thank you for joining the Hard Rockology Show. So as we do with each and every person we interview, why don't you guys take us out of the segment by introducing the next song for us?
Okay, yeah, this is Tom from Rivet, and you're listening to Hard Rockology. Here comes Bad Boy.